So
Thank you.
let's move on. Thank you very much, Coach Dan. It was really a nice presentation. Okay. Well, I guess I would like to introduce our next or last speaker and coach. She is a physiotherapist by profession. She is a Fit Dubai chapter run coach. She's a Nike Run Club Pacer Dubai from 2014 up to 2019. He's a 3-time Ironman 70.3 finisher. He's a 4-time marathon finisher. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Coach Majel Padilla. Coach.
Hi, good afternoon and good evening, everyone, and thank you for the invites. All right, so the last part of this training will be for female and masters athletes. All right. Okay, I'm going to talk about, just give me a sec. There we go. Coach Jay said earlier that mostly people are neglecting or avoiding doing strength training exercises, particularly women, okay, because of a lot of reasons. But we have to find out what's the benefit of doing strength training exercises. But before we go that, let's identify what is strength training. Okay, strength training is also weight or resistance training. Is physically activity designed to improve muscular fitness by exercise of a specific muscle or muscle group against external resistance, including free weights, weight machine, or your own body part. The basic principle is to apply load and overload the muscle, so it needs to adapt and get stronger. So that's the reason why we need to do our strength training exercises. Not only doing the endurance workout, but also providing and giving enough strength to do those endurance training. Okay, the benefits, especially for women and middle age, not middle age, but masters athlete. Firstly, we recruit more muscle fibers. Okay, muscle fibers are recruited based on need. So the higher muscle fiber, the greater muscle fiber we need. The lesser demand, the fewer muscle fiber. Okay, so strength training exercises will help you or will teach your body to recruit more muscle fiber. Let's say an example, in your training, you're going to use an extra power running off a hill or sprinting to the finish line. So those muscle fibers will be trained and activated. And at the same time, you will notice that you fatigue less. Second benefit will burn more fat. Okay, physiologically and naturally, women have high body fat percentage than men. So the more muscle mass we have, the more fat we will burn at rest because of the more active tissue. Strength training definitely will help us burn those fats. Okay? And if you want to lose more fats, you have to do full body strength exercises. Example of those are squats, push-ups, deadlift, and leg press. Next benefit will be preserve muscle mass. All right. So as we know, as when we age, the muscle mass diminishes and we recruited more body fat percentage. However, we can counteract that doing the strength training exercises as it helps prevent and enhance our muscle mass regardless of your age. Next one, it controls your weight. Definitely, if you are very consistent in doing your strength training exercises, you help to burn lots and lots of fat more efficiently, and you develop lean body mass. Reduce risk of osteoporosis. Because of hormonal changes that women will experience as we get older, naturally we lose bone density, which is a risk factor in developing osteoporosis. When we lift weight when we're doing strength training exercises, we slows down the bone deterioration, which it helps the bone grow stronger, and the strength training helps maintain the strength that can reduce the developing effect of osteoporosis. And the last benefit of strength training will be decreased risk injury. When you build muscle, you help to protect your joint from injury, and you increase your balance and coordination. As what Coach Danny said earlier, uh, balance and coordination is very important when we do a specific exercise, like the deadlift, like the coordination of your hands and leg exercises. Okay. How can you get started, particularly for the newbie and intermediate? You can start by doing your body weight, like push-up, your squats. Next, you can use your free weights. Free weights that can be your dumbbells, your barbells, okay? Next one, this weight machines. These weight machines, a lot of gym are using this weight machine, so you can do your lateral pull exercises as shown in the video. And you can do also some different muscle workouts in different machines. And the next one will be your rubber tubing or resistance band. This one is an easy, an inexpensive way of using your resistance home training exercises. Tips on how you do your strength training. Make sure your technique is good. Start slow, and you train major functional triathlon specific muscle groups. Okay, during our training in running, we incorporate some strength training exercise or core workout. I always tell them that you have to do the proper execution rather than the repetition. You might injure yourself if you're not doing a proper technique. If you're unsure of doing some specific exercises, there are a lot of application that you can see and how to execute the exercises. Coach Jan can share his exercises, and probably we can use that for our training. Start slow. Not everybody is all same. Some will see the effect quickly, some are not. Okay, so each individual are different. And train your major functional triathletic specific muscle group. So there are a lot of muscles that is being activated in 3 disciplines: swim, bike, and run. So you have to make sure that you always incorporate those exercise for these specific muscle groups. Okay.
Coach, hi, Coach.
Yes, Coach Jay.
Press walks.
Yes, Coach Maj.
If you have one question there, yeah? Yes.
Yeah,
Alright.
just to interrupt you, we have one question here. So, strength training increase our flexibility?
Based on study, as what Coach Danny said again earlier, flexibility is increases the range of motion in your joint, correct? Some short-term weight training program can improve flexibility in middle age or some above 40 years old, specifically in hip and trunk region, but not muscles can increase flexibility. So if you want to increase your flexibility in specific muscle, you have to do a separate training to increase the strength and to increase the flexibility. So that's it. So it's not really increasing the flexibility of a specific muscle, but some, specifically the hip and trunk. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Continue.
All right. So now we proceed on training for the master's triathlete above 40 years old. Okay. The first one is the strength and stabilization training. There are some examples that you can do to for the strengthening and stabilization exercises. The first one will be the plyometric. Example, squat jumps. For total body, example of those exercises is your ball squat and then curl to press. For your chest, you can do your push-up, that's push-up. Number 4, for your back, you can do your stability ball and dumbbell row. These are just very specific and simple exercises for your stabilization training. For bicep, you can do single leg dumbbell curl, your tricep, stability ball, dumbbell tricep extension, and for your legs, step up to balance. And lastly, for your core is your ball crunch. So if you want to do and strengthen your back and your core, these are the example of some exercises. Secondly, intensity versus volume. So high intervals on the track or hill repeats, which activates and trains fast twitch muscle fiber, which are responsible for speed. So for our master athletes, high intensity will allow to keep training volume low and allow more time to recover. More recovery time. We have to consider for our master age athlete is the recovery time. We have to include easy week within the training plan, take 1 day off per week, listen to your body, and don't attempt to train through sharp pain or injuries. Most of the athletes, even though they feel pain or they have injury, they still train. We have to remember, we have to respect our body. If we feel something different, we have to stop and recover. Okay, your body will thank you later when you have a proper recovery. Aim for a better quality of sleep and more sleep as well to recover fast. And lastly, consume protein immediately post-workout to aid your muscle repair. Okay. There are some studies now when you're doing your strength training at home, you can provide your own workout if you don't have any coaches yet, especially for the beginners and intermediate level. So first one, what's your goal? What's your overall fitness goal? Okay. Do you want to see a best result in doing some activity? Like do you want to achieve 100 push-up, let's say in 5 minutes? So you have to specifically ask yourself, what is my goal in doing strength training exercises? Okay. You have to also align your nutrition when you're doing your strength training exercises. You have to have a measurable goals. You have to be specific. It should be measurable, it should be attainable, realistic, and timely. Okay. For you to do that, you can weigh yourself weekly to see the progress. Also, you have to set a goal like in 3 weeks time or in 6 weeks time, I want to lose 3 pounds. And let's say in 8 weeks time, I want to lose 3% of my body fats. Or let's say in a week, I want to achieve like a lean shoulder. So you have to be very, very realistic in doing your goal. And lastly, you can take your photo before and after to see your body transformation. Third, decide how many times a week you can dedicate your strength training. Be realistic in the number of sessions that you will do during your workouts. It should fit in to your other training as well. Okay, you have to incorporate this strength training exercises into other training program that you have. Divide up your training days based on your fitness goal. Let's say you want to do a full body workout in 2 to 3 days in a week, but you have to split those exercises like first day I have to do legs, next day I have to do the chest and back. So you really have to work out different training program based on your goal. Okay. You can choose also what body parts to work on different days, and prioritize your training depending on your fitness goal. Let's say example, you're training for a race. Okay. Obviously you have to do some running and biking, but you also have to incorporate your strength training exercise. Let's say you're doing your running twice a week, cycle thrice a week, then add strength training like 2 to 3 times in a week as well. Pick the exercises you will do on each training of the week. Coach Dan explained earlier about some compound training exercise. You can also consider those training in your workouts. Why? Those compound training exercises works for multiple muscle groups. And at the same time, you work on for a lot of muscle group at the same time. Okay, like example, squats. When you do your squats, you work on your quads, you work on your glutes, you work on your calves. Okay, so you can incorporate those compound exercises. And lastly, it depends on what kind of training you will do. It can be 4 to 8 weeks, as what coach um, said earlier. You have to do it in different phases. So you can do this 4 to 8 weeks during your anatomical adaptation training program. So these are just the example on how you can create your own strength training program.
Coach,
Yes,
Coach
Coach.
Majel, this is just a generic question,
Yeah.
whether it's for women or for middle age or for the master's age group. For example, if there's an athlete that will ask for your service with regard to strength and conditioning, what are the questions as a coach that would you like to ask that athlete in order to start or to have some knowledge or to gain some knowledge? How will you start this program? So what are the histories that you want to ask to him or her?
Firstly, I have to ask the client if she have done any strength training exercises before.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the initial question that I have to ask the client. And what type of goal that the client wants during this particular program. And third, what do you want to achieve in doing strength training exercises?
Okay, relating to the pandemic crisis that we have right now, especially at home, will it be important as well to identify some of the available equipment and the access and of course the schedule as well for the athlete? Thank you.
The access, it's you can do your strength training exercises at home actually. And you can do your body weight exercises. If you have some free weights at home, you can start doing your strength training using those equipments as well. It's not generally it's not specifically, and you will do your exercises in the gym. You can have and you can provide yourself some free weights for you to use at home, and then resistance band also that you can use at home. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can start your workout in a very intense program. Again, you have to start slow depending on the level that you are, and you have to be more realistic of what exercises that you will do specifically at home and the equipment that is available for you. During this pandemic, body weight is really, really perfect example that you can start for your strength training program. Coach Dan showed us a lot of technique or ideas that we can use for our body weight exercises. The Tabata exercises is one of those exercises that we can start during this pandemic.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Go ahead.
Okay. So here we have the female triad, which occurs in triathlon as well as in other endurance sports. The first one is low energy or low food intake. Next is menstrual disorder. And the last one will be bone loss, which leads to a weak bone and high risk of fracture. Okay, these three are incorporated together. Okay, why? Many female athletes are under extreme and constant pressure to have low body weight by either by the coach or by the peers. Okay. Others put themselves under pressure to lose weight to perform better or achieve the ideal body weight. Those diet promotes calorie deficit, okay, which are not appropriate for athletes as they often result in low energy, impaired health, and poor recovery. So you have to better focus on health and maintaining adequate vitamins and minerals and improve performance instead. Remember, low calorie deficit also can lead to low estrogen, which result in loss of monthly cycle. That's why we say it's menstrual disorder. So low estrogen at the same time also promotes bone loss, which is really a high risk factor for fracture. And if we remember earlier, female are at risk for osteoporosis. So in order to prevent this, what can we do is we have to have an adequate nutrition, and then we have to really exercise for good bone formation. If we can take some calcium as well, and yeah, those specific treatment that we can do for this triad as well. All right. The last one in this presentation will be the example of strength training exercises, particularly in women. Okay. First, we have to have a warm up, heavy squats, deadlift, lateral pull down, shoulder extension on a cable machine. If not, you can use your free weights, chest press, seated row, leg press, and lunges. This is just only an example, complete workout that you can do during this pandemic. You can do this at home, or you can do this outside your house. You can use also your body weight. We can modify each exercises as well, depending on what goal that you want for the particular training. There we go. So yeah, that's it.
Yes, thanks, Coach
So-
Maj.
There we go.
Press walks, go ahead. I'm just
Yes, Coach Jay, during the course, there's some questions on the Zoom group chat, so we'd like to share it so that
Go ahead.
also our listeners and viewers in the Facebook Live can get those questions and answers. So one question here is from Tristan Madi. So as an athlete, how can I get the low heart rate? So he's referring to the heart rate yes, during training or during race. So Coach Dan answer this. Coach Dan, can you share your answer?
Right. So low heart rate, if it's a result of exercise, means your heart is strong enough to supply blood to different part of the body using only few beats or few pump. This helps us prolong our life in general, in total. Imagine some people has 90 heart rate at rest, and then without doing nothing, their heart is contracting muscles 90 times just to supply blood. Us athlete can go as low as 40 to 50 for triathletes on a like an average basis, and elite athlete can even go below 40, 30, and some are 29. Boom, boom. How strong is their heart? Now the question is how to lower your exercise is to do like high intensity training more frequently. So you should be able to exercise cardiovascular activity on a higher intensity on a more frequent basis. But again, depending on your plan, depending on your current capacity, we should be able to follow a progressive overload, or hindi pwedeng, we cannot just like do immediate VO2 max exercises without knowing your current capacity. So the more you do a higher intensity based on your capacity, the faster your resting heart rate will go down. So like for example, in my case, when I'm a bodybuilder, my resting heart rate is like 65 to 70. And then when I started training 8 years ago running, it lowers to like 55 during, and then 3 years ago when I started triathlon, it more lower, and the lowest I get is 46. So it's not that like it's long period, but the from 55 to 45 or 46 took me around 2 years. Yeah. So it's not that quick, but you will see changes the more you incorporate high intensity cardiovascular exercises. All right.
Okay.
So
Thank you,
going to
Coach Dan.
zone 4 and zone 5 is like the exercise for your heart. All
It
right?
requires more. You know, there will be the next topics. Next webinar topic will be discussing about elements of training, like the intensity, the volume, the heart rate. So I don't want to answer right now because I want you guys to watch again on the next topic,
All
next
right.
webinar.
That's cool. Yes. Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
very much. So just watch on, because we will be discussing. There will be next topics, next webinar topics that will be discussing more on the intensity and the training parameters. Okay, Coach Press Walks. Anything else?
Yeah, I would like just to thank all our speakers and all the guys who attend this training. Hope you can, we have, I think, 3 more episodes so far. So hope to see you again next week.
Coach,
Anyway,
follow-up
before-
questions.
Follow-up question. Okay.
Follow-up
Go ahead.
questions. So we are in the strength and conditioning training. So what is the best for recovery during after the strength workout? What you mean is it's recommend to drink protein, or what recovery would you suggest or recommend after workout?
For who's that question? For whom?
Yo, Coach Dan.
Yeah,
Okay.
anyone can answer, Coach. Yeah.
No,
All right.
anyone, maybe kung sino
Anyway, I'll reserve that question. Coach Dan, sorry to interrupt. Bless Charles.
Yeah.
Let me just finish first Coach Majel from her side
Okay.
before we will come up with an open and answer question to everybody.
Okay.
Okay,
that's
last, since this is a related question,
Right.
sorry for that.
Okay.
My bad. Before I will open the floor to the
okay.
listeners.
We have a question
Okay.
and answer. All right.
Yes. Is there any difference in the procedure or protocol in strength exercises for women and master age group? That's for you, Coach Majel.
All right. Coach is a yes and no answer. Okay. Yes, because most women is avoiding strength training exercises because of the misinformation. They think that when they do strength training exercises, they will become big and bulky. But no, because women has hormone called estrogen. So that really difficult for a woman to be bulky. Okay. No, again, because women and men can do same training exercises. Okay, like I said earlier, women will not be bulky, will not be big unless they take supplements. Okay, like the CrossFitter or the bodybuilders, correct? But what they are doing is just they build toned muscles rather than bulky. Okay, I hope I answered your question.
I think yes. Okay, so any more questions for Coach Majel? Meron ditong questions that was texted to me, Coach Majel. Just hold
Yes.
on. Last question. Nahihiyang magsanong pero how do you consider your menstrual cycle at your program or training plan?
All right. Yes. Yan. The days. All right. So we have to understand the effects first, and the power of the period, right? So in 28 days period for women, we have two phases. Okay, but leading to those, a week, sometimes women a week before their period, they experience fatigue. They are very irritable. They have mood swings. So those are the signs that they know that the period is coming. But we have to also understand the power of the period. The first day to 14 days of the period, the estrogen level is very low. So those are the time that we can use the high intensity program in our training. Women will be surprised that why am I doing more power in the bike rather than last week? Okay, because the estrogen is really low and the progesterone level also is really low. So those time we can use the high intensity level of training. And then after the 14 days, our body is also slowing down a bit because the estrogen level now is slowly coming back. Okay. So definitely our program will change to easy week at the same time. We have to change our training in more rest period also, but we have to consider it's not always the same in each of every woman. Okay, some women for the first 3 days of their period they are not doing anything because of the cramps, because of the back pain, because of something else. Okay, so what are they doing? They are just lying down having the hot oak for to alleviate the pain. But honestly, we can take those opportunity rather than lying down on the in the bed. We can train to compensate the cramps. Okay, those cramps can ease when we do our training. If you are distracted of doing your training, okay.
Oh,
If you don't want to do high intensity training during your first week of the period, just try some activity that you feel that your body can cope to the training and not
okay.
just go straight away for the high intensity ones. Okay, but we are very lucky at the same time that we can monitor this cycle. If women has their coaches, they have to be open about it. They have to talk about their period at the same time. Okay, so the coaches know and they can mark it in their working training that on this day, coach, I will have my period. So the coaches also will have the opportunity to look back at the training and adjust the training plan for them at the same time. Okay, so don't be shy of telling your coaches that you will have your period. Don't be shy and telling them that this time I don't feel fine. Maybe we can adjust my training instead of doing this. I can we do something else just to do a different approach for the training at the same time.
Okay, thank you, Coach Majel. Anyway, I just want to address press question related to recovery, and I want to ask the three speakers that press Charles related to press Charles' question. So since he was asking about recovery, right, press Charles? Hello,
Hello?
press Charles.
Ah,
Yes,
okay.
you were asking
Yes.
about recovery after exercise, right?
Yes.
Yes. So now I will relate that question or relate that question to the three speakers or three instructors. For example, for Coach Nomer, with regard to strength and conditioning exercise, how do you apply or where do you put your recovery? Same as well with Coach Danny. In each and every hard exercise, what is your recovery or what are the recoveries that you're doing? Same thing with Coach Majel. for women, what are the recovery tips that you are giving to your athletes? So let's start with Coach Nomer. It's a long term. For example, you're talking about 1 year program, strength and conditioning program. How do you incorporate, or what are the training recoveries that you're giving to your athletes? Thank you. Then followed by Coach Danny, then last one, Coach Majel. Thank you.
Okay, planning on the recovery, it's very important in weekly basis. Actually, in every session, right every after session of hard training, you need to do a routine of recovery routine. Like for example, doing some major muscle group stretching. The muscles that you use during the hard training, you have to stretch it. And then also you can do myofascial release like foam rolling, massage. Okay, or you can visit your rehab facilities, doing some manipulation there, like the modern technique is cryotherapy. What else? The dry needling. Have you heard about it? That's one good thing for recovery. And then also the nutrition, following the follow-up nutrition after the hard training. So
okay, thank you. Thank Coach Nomer. Well, I guess I will address that one since you mentioned about nutrition and protein shake. I will give that one to Coach Danny. Coach Danny.
Yeah, so very important yung sinabi ni Coach Nomer about MFR or myofascial release, stretching. You stretch after, not before. Before you do dynamic stretching to warm up the body, but for to develop flexibility, incorporate it on your recovery phase of the high intensity training. So you do your yoga, your static stretching after the program, after the workout. And of course, your rest and sleep is very important. If you want to ruin your day, just do not sleep properly and your day will be ruined. Okay. In terms of nutrition, yeah, Chucky, Milo, Ovaltine will do. Yeah, so high carbohydrate drink with not high, but with protein. So I usually use a protein shake, vanilla flavor, combined with peanut butter and banana and Nutella.
Coach Dan.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, this is a direct question from my side as a coach or as an athlete. I know you are more on muscle strengthening, pero in a high intensity exercise in terms of protein, what is the ratio? How many grams per kilogram are you? I mean, I may be more scientific, pero can you just explain a little bit more? Kasi
Yeah,
diba, usually if we buy a protein shake,
yeah,
1 scoop equivalent to 30 grams, isn't it?
27 to 30, yeah, correct.
Yeah. So how do you approach it? Kasi muscle strengthening or bodybuilding is different from high intensity, for example, running. So what is your approach on that? Thank you.
Yeah, before when I'm in bodybuilding, I use 2 to 3 scoops of protein shake after the training, knowing that I will need hypertrophy or I want to increase the size of the muscles after the heavy or the compound exercises. One of our participants chat questions that he is gaining some weight after a body weight exercise. So definitely it's not the exercise, it's the nutrition that made you increase weight. In terms of protein in endurance and running and cycling and triathlon sports, if previously on bodybuilding I use 1 gram per pound a day for the total protein intake, now it's less. And what you call this, 1 gram per kilogram is actually enough. So your 1 serving scoop, so again, your body can only generally absorb like 25 grams of protein in 3 hours period. So if you do more than 25 grams or 30 grams per serving, the protein will not, it will be like converted into extra calories and eventually leads to increased total caloric intake, which conversions to stored energy equals fats. So 25 grams is fine, allowed for 3 to 4 hours period. And you can use from 1 gram per kilogram of your ideal weight as a protein requirement. If on the higher intensity days, you can increase a little bit more, but not going through 1 gram per pound basis.
That's way too heavy, 1 gram per pound. Anyway, looking forward for future webinar topics like hydration and nutrition in the next topic. Thank
All
you,
right.
Coach Nani.
You're
Coach
welcome.
Majel, well, I guess please address that question in terms of recovery, the protein shake for female athletes. Thank you.
Protein shake. For me, I use a protein shake during my long endurance ride, after a long endurance training ride. And I can also add on some of the recovery is for women, particularly is yoga. We can add some yoga or Pilates at the same time to increase flexibility. Okay. And we can do also some massage. Okay. And myofascial release also exercises for women. We can also do some light strength training exercises as well, but focus on high repetition but low resistance. If you still want to do some strength training, focus on high resistance rather than the load is increased. And also we can add some easy swim for easy relaxation of the muscles, and warm bath at the same time to increase blood circulation also.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I guess I don't want to, but we need to end. I know, Coach
Coach Jay.
Bernard. I know we need
Coach
to
Jay.
end. Yes. Last
Yeah,
question, I guess.
Yeah, before you end, actually, I have one question, but this is not for the 3 coaches that we had today. But
Sure.
first, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Coach Moy, the Moyam from one of the co-founders of PH. Hi, Coach Moy.
Coach Walks, thank you.
Right.
Thank you for sitting in.
Yes.
Allow me to sit
I have
in.
just want to get your opinion about this heart rate, the earlier questions. How do you improve your heart rate?
So I recognize all coaches. Those are good inputs for everyone. In particular, so I'll just focus on how we do it. So heart rate are always the basis of one of the bases of performance, as we always do. So not because we lower down the heart rate, it doesn't mean that we actually perform really well. So I think one input siguro that I could leave for everyone is there's a specific heart rate that we can actually associate for a particular intensity. So and I think that's where you can see the progress. So there's if you're following a zoning on your training, you will understand that if you're on VO2 max or above, there's no way that that's gonna be low. But if you're actually under active recovery or on your endurance ride, that's where you have to notice that that should be a lower heart rate. So I think those are just important inputs in terms of how do you know that you're actually hitting it hard, or if you are just recovering it. So those is where we always base our approaches in terms of we are looking to our heart rate. Thank you.
Yes, I guess, Coach, thank you, Moy. Thank you very
Coach
much
Moy.
for your input. Yeah. I believe that will be one of the topics next webinar series.
Yeah.
about
Zone
part
trade.
3.
Yeah.
We'll discuss that one.
Yes, Coach
Thank
Jay,
you,
you can
Coach.
give the closing remarks.
Well, I guess I'm hoping that everybody enjoyed our webinar series for today, and looking forward to see you again by next week. Right? Usually, I'm still asking the coaches their last take-home message, but I believe we have enough. So once again, on behalf of the FIT webinar committee, thank you very much. Coach Bernard, anything else before? Anything you want to say? I saw your invites already.
Yes,
So
that's
please-
exclusive. That's exclusive for our Zoom participants. So I will not be divulging it further because we are live on Facebook.
Okay, then. Yeah, we will only divide. Okay. Well, I guess once again, thank you very much. Fitmates, all fellow triathletes, a pleasant good evening and mabuhay.
Yes,
See you next
God
time.
bless.
Salamat.
Thank
God bless.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Fit
See you
for the
next week.
opportunity.
Thank you very much.
See you next
Coach
week.
Coach Maj, Coach Nomer, thank you.
PM lang kung may additional question, PM.
Okay.
PM is the key.
PM is the key. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.